Yeah.
And obsolescence.
Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse,
You
right?
got it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have enough people to get started.
Yes,
We
we do.
need to wait. Okay.
have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Board Operations Performance Committee meeting. Today is Monday, February the 9th. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. And I would like to ask Jeanette to take roll call, please.
City of Carmel by the Sea,
Absent.
City of Gonzales,
Here.
City of King, City of Marina,
Here.
City of Pacific Grove,
Here,
and City of Salinas.
Right here.
You have a quorum.
All right, very good, thank you. Okay, public comments on matters not on the agenda. Members of the public may address the committee on any matter related to the jurisdiction of MST, not on the agenda. There's a time limit of not more than 3 minutes for each speaker. The committee will not take action or respond immediately to any public comments presented, but may choose to follow up on a later time, either individually through staff or a subsequent agenda. Is there anyone from the public that has a public comment? Seeing none in the room. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Doesn't look like it. All right, I will now close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. Did everyone have an opportunity to look at that? All right, are there any questions? No? Okay. Anyone from the public that would like to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing no one, we will move on. Do I have any action from the
move to
committee?
approve. Second,
Okay, Tony made the motion and Mr. Emilio did the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, moving on. I'm going right through this. Okay, action item, review of operations performance, and this is Mr. Sador.
Yes, thank you, Chair. You have your monthly report through November. The complete monthly report. We do have some December results elsewhere throughout the packet, as we would normally be reporting December results at this meeting, but I think I reported last month that we've had some turnover in our finance department, and we should be all caught up with your monthly reports by next month. So we've got some temporary help coming in that's going to be helping our accounting department get caught up as we get a new payroll person up to speed. It's critical that we focus on getting the payroll done and correctly, so we've been putting our resources there, and we're catching up on other things, and this board report qualifies as other things.
Other things.
Not to say you're not important, but this is less important than getting our people paid on time. So
I can agree
hopefully
with
you'll
that.
appreciate
I
that.
can agree with that.
But what you will see is that what I am able to report, at least through the year-end results that we would have shown, is that we finished out the year in December with over 4.5% increase in ridership. What we really saw great increases in was in our van pool program year over year. If you look at the past 2 years' performance, calendar year performance, 2023 to 2025, overall, we had a 21% increase. We saw a doubling over those 2 years of our van pool program, 20% increase in our MST Rides ADA program and our voucher program. And you'll see in your report this month and a report from Michelle, who's here, on our South County circulators and their performance. And we've seen a quadrupling of ridership in Soledad, tripling of ridership in Greenfield, doubling of ridership in Gonzales. So really doing well in those respects, and we'll be making some improvements, some changes to some routing in Gonzales that we think will even result in more ridership in the coming months. So that concludes my report.
Okay, very good. Any questions from the committee? Yes.
Just one question. the decrease in November? Was there a reason for that, or is that seasonal and?
Yeah, I looked at it. You know, we had a lot of rain in November and we also had just the way the calendar operates, we had more weekends than we had weekdays. So that impacts ridership. So you know,
Okay,
we see anomalies like that periodically,
Yes.
generally weather related, sometimes calendar related. I don't think it's a long-term trend. I'll let you know though.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say, sometimes it has to do with people leaving too.
Yeah.
To go south.
Yes, and when
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is, yeah,
They
it's
go
also
down to
Thursday,
Union.
but how yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
so sometimes that has an impact on
Yes.
it too.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions from the committee? No? All right, then let's move on to item number 4.2, receive public survey results from outreach round 1 of the Salinas Rapid Bus and Transit Center relocation study. And that is Michelle.
Good morning, committee members. Michelle Overmeyer. I'm the Director of Planning and Innovation. I presented an update on the project to your committee in December. At that time, the public survey had just closed, and so you wanted to get some information on that. So that's what this presentation is here. The full staff report is on page 9 of your committee agenda. There's a lot of detail in there. We have 2 attachments with even more detail. So during the public outreach phase 1, we engaged with over 400 members of the public. 360 people took the survey, which was available in English and in Spanish. It was online, and we also had intercept surveys. So we had people in person helping those that didn't want to take it online. 72% of the respondents reported using transit on East LaSalle and Williams at least a few times a week for shopping, medical appointments, entertainment, and commuting to school. 78% of the respondents reported walking as the most popular mode of getting to the bus stop. The survey asked the public to rank their top 3 priorities that would encourage them to take transit and make transit better. The 2 priorities ranked number 1 most frequently are both related to operations of the bus. The first being increased frequency and the second being better on-time performance. So in other words, more buses during the day and buses that run on schedule. When we asked for the top priorities on mobility on East LaSalle Street and Williams Road, over half of the respondents answered that improving transit speed and reliability is the highest priority, and over 80% ranked it in the top 3. Respondents were shown different potential future roadway cross sections on 2 segments of East LaSalle and 1 segment of Williams Road, then asked to rank which configuration they prefer. In all segments, the side running dedicated bus lane option was ranked the highest. Most people who took the survey use the Salinas Transit Center at least a few times a week. Respondents were asked which features of a relocated transit center would be most important. Over half of those respondents answered more public restrooms, followed by a 3-way tie with better lighting, more visible security guards, and more seating near the bus gates or where the buses park. An indoor waiting area was similarly identified. So a summary of the public survey results is attached to my staff report, and the full engagement summary is hyperlinked and it's on our website. Can answer any questions you have.
Are there any questions? For Michelle? Yes, Liz.
Yes, sure.
That's okay.
Thank you, because I love this. I love, and I especially loved reading about the answers that people gave, you know, that they, and I wish I spoke Spanish, but I can understand some of the words and I typed in some in the translator app. But what do we do for people are asking more lighting? Is there anything, what's the follow-up? What do we do with this?
well,
do we,
this survey is for a relocated Salinas Transit Center. So
Initial phase.
this is, you know, what we are working with the city of Salinas and the Taylor Farms, and part of this study speaks to 3 different alternatives that we're looking at.
Mhm.
And we're going to narrow those down to a single alternative by the end of this process. And then once we can all agree on where the location is, it's going to be a many-year process of, identifying funding and actually moving the Salinas Transit Center to a new location. So,
Because this is also, are there any other BRT and street enhancements you would like? And this is, I think, in general as well, if we know that people want more lighting,
right,
is there anything we can do right away? I mean, we can have solar powered, motion censored for the existing.
we can look at what the existing Salinas Transit Center has.
Yeah.
As far as lighting, we certainly would want to look at, lower cost solutions since it is our intent to abandon that location. So
Yes.
we'll, we can certainly look at how to improve lighting there if it is in fact
Because
necessary.
I assume they're talking about existing bus stops as well, because they say.
I'm
yeah.
not certain
Yeah.
for how the question is phrased. Michelle, are they talking about the current Salinas Transit Center, or are they talking about current bus stops, or are they talking about what are they actually asking? What are they actually being asked and answered?
The survey covered both parts, the transit center and the corridor part of it. The corridor part, guess it. I think the lighting was more for the transit center. Because it looks like the corridor was more bus operations
Mhm.
and safe and comfortable bike lanes. They want to reduce speeding, more trees and landscaping, and then existing travel lanes.
Yes, because somebody else said, make the bus stops more visible for the.
In the individual
for
responses.
Because I thought, well, the drivers know where the bus stops are, but it seems that they feel like they're in the dark. So I thought if there's anything that can be done sooner than later, instead of waiting for a big project, if that's already a concern for.
Well,
the
we'll
bus stops, yeah.
can certainly take a look at,
Yeah.
and as far as the center, we can look at what we can do there. I can tell you that as comments come up, we do have the ability to add solar power to bus stops to make them more visible.
Yes.
We've experienced that most recently on Carmel Valley Road, where we've added some solar powered lighting to bus stops, and I believe we've added some to some stops in Marina as well. So as comments come in, we do have the ability to add solar power at individual stops. Upgrading the entire lighting at the Salinas Transit Center would be a bigger project. We'd have to take a look at what that entails. I'm not aware of any customer complaints coming in or concerns from our security guards about the lighting on a day-to-day basis there. So
Yeah, I understood it more for like the existing bus stops.
yeah,
and not
existing
at the
bus
center.
stops, we have the
So-
ability and the technology exists for us to add lighting where
Yeah.
customers let us know it's an issue. So,
Okay.
and we do that as recently as last month. I know specifically a bus stop that a customer complained about, and we added that. And since the solar panels come in quantities of 6, I think it was 6 or 8 in a pack. We bought 6 or 8 in a pack, and I instructed Norm's crew, Paul Lopez, our facilities manager. I said, find 6 places to
Yeah.
put the rest of them. So that's what we're doing.
So maybe another pack of 6 might have.
Yeah,
to be-
no, I'm always up for another gift pack.
But rest is
Lighting.
one remark about, we read about for me as a city council member, the street design. And you read people want slower vehicle speeds, safer bicycle lanes and or bicycle paths and wider sidewalks. And I love seeing
And more roundabouts? Do you want more roundabouts?
Oh yeah, I do that. They didn't
God.
say that though.
It's so scary when I drive that. I'm like, oh.
I just love seeing the wider sidewalk in Marina and because of the surf busway project.
Mhm.
A wider sidewalk, people now can see what it means if you don't have just a minute.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, can I, Madam Chair, can I just
Absolutely.
quickly, as far as I've been at the transit center several times at night. the center is well lit. I think what's happening here, we do have two main garages one across the street, which belongs to the city. Several people have been complaining, it's a dark parking lot, it's super dark. So I think with the city helping out with the lighting, it will brighten up a little bit more. And then over there where the Subway sandwich used to be at, I don't know what, that smaller parking lot? It's also dark. I know my daughter and I, we were at an event at the Steinbeck Center. And we walked through the MST, well lit, but these parking lots, I mean, we parked in one of, there's no lights.
Yeah.
So I think once the lighting, once the city works on that lighting, it'll help a lot, that area. Just wanted to say that.
I do have,
Yes, ma'am.
Sophia, Tony is here from Salinas. The design for the street, sorry, I need to look up this. This is for Williams Road between East Alisal and Barden Road. The option there shows the number one has the bike lanes on the left side of the cars. Please try to avoid that. When people open the doors and you get sideswiped on the
Yeah.
bicycle. Because the other one, for the other street, has it next to the sidewalk and raised. This is the way to go. Combine your bicycle with your pedestrians
Yeah.
and raise it, and try to avoid having bicyclists biking next to a car and they open the door.
Yeah.
So I was surprised not to see that option there. So
Well, these were samples of various options. The city is in the process of conducting its own study
Yeah.
that in tandem with this. So they have their own.
Yeah, and
design team.
and I think we have to join forces on that one. My biggest concern with the city is always to make sure that they're communicating with MST. Williams Road is a highway. I mean, it's a super fast lane, and there are $22 million set aside for that project, which is not a whole lot of money. For Barden to East Alisal. The other thing is the bike lane is very important. We also are waiting on PG&E because the first project is going to be that they put all their wiring underground, and that's a hard nut to crack. So it's been difficult.
Unless you have somebody.
That's a hard nut to crack. What?
Unless you have somebody who used to work for them like we do, so we get things done quick and go.
Oh.
And you can go to Gonzalez then.
Be careful.
No.
We may be reaching out to you.
Yeah. So yeah, we thought about that as well.
yeah, because I've learned, sometimes suddenly it's like, okay, no, you cannot change it anymore. It's decided.
Yeah.
It has been approved this way. And this might be something for the Thamesie Bike and Pedestrian Committee as well.
Yeah, but to that point, I think I know they've been receiving letters with enough notice on issues that MST is concerned about.
City of Salinas?
Yes.
Yeah, they're on our technical advisory committee, so we've been in close coordination with them. And I understand that the Williams Road project is going through some changes based on the federal government
Yeah.
changes in guidelines, interpretations.
Yeah. It's ongoing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, seeing none. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item? Seeing none, close public comment. All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. All right, we are going to move on now. Receive presentation on MST's Transit Asset Management Plan, and this is Norm. Good morning,
Hello,
Norm.
good morning, everybody. I should have a presentation up here.
Do we have any?
We probably do. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got it. I think we handed it out, and then also we've got it up on the screen for you. Thank you, committee members. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to you today about our transit asset management program. Next slide, please. I'm Norm Tuitavuki. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. Here's your agenda today. So we're going to be looking at transit asset management, what it is. We're going to look at how MST manages our assets. I'm going to give you some additional features that's related to transit asset management. And also we're going to look at some future MST projects that coordinate with our asset management plan. So next slide, please. All right, so what is asset management? That is the actual technical definition of transit asset management. It's the strategic and systematic practice of procuring, operating, inspecting, maintaining, rehabilitating, and replacing transit capital assets. So essentially what that means is we have to have a plan, and that plan has to kind of guide us on how we manage our assets, and it sets us up for everything from capital planning to replacing vehicles, replacing equipment, replacing facilities, those type of things. Next slide, please. All right, so those are just some of the requirements of our FTA-approved transit asset management plan. Essentially, the transit asset management plan has to be updated every 4 years. And within the plan, we have a list of items that we have to include. So that includes our inventory of all capital assets, the condition of every asset. So vehicles, buildings, et cetera. We go through and we take a look at each asset, and then we give it a condition rating. 5 is brand new, all the way down to number 1, which is basically, hey, this thing needs to go. Within the transit asset management plan, we also have what we call decision support tools. And based on the condition of the asset and the replacement schedule, it gives you the decision on whether or not you should replace it or when to replace it. Additionally, the annual NTD reporting is part of this. We report to the National Transit Database an inventory of all of our assets. So all of our vehicles, all of our buildings, this facility, the lab as well, we report those condition assessments to the NTD annually. Next slide, please. There's several business processes that is involved in transit asset management. First of all, there's policy and strategy. Then there's life cycle management, and then cross asset planning. I'm more involved with my staff on the day-to-day life cycle management system. And this is where we go through, as we go through and inspect vehicles, or we inspect properties, we inspect facilities such as this, we go through, we assess the condition that I talked about just a little bit ago. And that gives us the ability to plan how we replace buildings and other assets. Next slide, please. It gives you a snapshot of what our transit asset management plan kind of looks like. And that is the rating scale that we use. So every facility has a condition assessment that we provide. And within the MST asset management plan, we also include the rolling stock replacement schedule. We look at the ICT regulations, the ZEB rollout plan, which is something that is a piece of this asset management plan. The surf bus rapid transit, all of those items that we've been building and constructing will be included and adopted into the transit asset management plan. And then Trapeze EAM, that's the system that we use. That's Trapeze Enterprise Asset Management. That's a digital software program that allows us to take our assets, look at them. I can give a tablet to somebody who's reporting to the lab to do their condition assessment. They take the tablet with them. They go through each building. They pull up a list of every single item that's within that building. As they replace it, they repair it. They also give it an asset rating. So all of our assets are maintained within this software. Next slide, please. This talks a little bit about the asset management future of MST. As we add new assets into our vehicle and maintenance facilities plans, and also into our transit asset management plan, it gives us the ability to strengthen the process. And with their software, we ingest all of the data, and with technology tools that are based within the software, it also gives us the ability to have an easier way to manage our assets and then plan accordingly. And it gives us the ability to do better and easier capital planning. Next slide, please. As we go through transit asset management, these are the partners and the resources that help us and guide us through the process. In operations, vehicle maintenance, inventory control, they play a big role on the TAM plan. And then also in the facilities department, they play a huge role in ensuring that all of our assets in the field are maintained properly. Other partners that help us go through the transit asset management plan is our partner and our contractor Transdev. The procurement department, we work closely with them as we procure new vehicles, new assets, new equipment. And then we work very closely with our projects personnel who help us create the capital improvement plan. Industry resources that are available to us are the FTA. The state of California also plays a role in that. APTA has many webinars, and they've got partners and colleagues that we can connect with to help guide us through the transit asset management planning. Next slide, please. This is a brief overview of our software system. Again, it's called Enterprise Asset Management, Trapeze Enterprise Asset Management. So when you look at number one, the manage our asset related work, what that does is it gives us the ability to pull up an asset in the software, and then we can look at the location. We can look at the previous inspections that were completed. We can look at inspections that are due to be completed in the future, and it helps us plan accordingly. At the end of the day, this gives us the ability to make decisions based on our assets, whether they need to be replaced, whether we have the money to do that. If we don't have the money, what are some alternatives that we can offer to MST to prolong the life of the asset, to bring it up to, I guess, to refurbish it if we need to, things like that. But it gives us the ability to look at our assets and make decisions. Next slide, please. So other benefits of the Trapeze Enterprise Asset Management, it's very friendly, staff-friendly tools. The user interface over the years, they've made it a lot easier for our people, for myself, our people in the field to use. As I mentioned before, we have tablets for all of our field technicians today. We've got tablets that we purchased and we're working on now to help us in the actual vehicle maintenance garages. Those tablets are being rolled out probably within the next couple of months. And so that'll give the mechanics, when they're working on a vehicle, they can be at a vehicle. They don't have to move from paper over to a computer that's, down the hallway to enter their work and do their work. They can have the tablet with them. They make their reports and they complete it that way. Next slide, please. Well, there's our next slide. So the other thing we can do is we can look at the asset on a map. We have the ability to look at all of our assets on maps, and we can tell where they're at. We can zoom in, we can look at different things, whether the bus stop has a shelter, has lighting, needs lighting, whether there's a bench, things like that. So it really gives you the ability to dive deep into the asset. And we've got some other things that our planning department has been doing that we've been using within asset management. Next slide, please. So this is a dashboard that our planning department has been working on. They collect data from the EAM system. If you recall, the Enterprise Asset Management System, EAM, allows us to work on vehicles, work on assets, do work performed, and then it houses the historical knowledge behind that. So when we're looking at all of this data, we're able to drill into different places that'll give us information that we need at our fingertips. Some of the things that they do, preventable versus non-preventable accidents, we can look at that. We can sort by that. I can go to a bus stop and look at the work that has been done, but it gives us the graphical ability to look at a map, drill down on what it is that we're looking at, and then give us some insights that we need so that we can make decisions. Next slide, please. I say all of this because at the end of the day, what transit asset management is really about is allowing MST to plan their capital purchases and capital improvements over the next 5 years. That's what we do internally. We look at next year and then 4 years beyond that, and we're doing our best to forecast. We identify the capital needs that we have, and then we look at funding. Is there funding available now? What funding do we need? And things like that. Next slide, please. Again, when we're looking at long-range capital needs, we identify assets. We look at assumptions. We make assumptions based on the information that we have, and then we project at a high level to try and project out as far as possible so that we can plan accordingly. Next slide, please. All right, some major efforts ahead that's going to involve transit asset management. We've got the Surf Bus Rapid Transit Project, the new station, all the lighting, all of the different elements that we're going to be including in our transit asset management plan. Along with that, we've got some charge point chargers. We've got a couple of projects that are coming up here that we're going to be installing new chargers. Another project that we have on the burner is a zero emissions backup generator at Monterey. We've been working on something like that, so we're going to get closer to that as we go through that. Maintenance operations, I talked a little bit about that, about the tablets that we're bringing in-house into the vehicle maintenance garages, where all of our mechanics are going to have a tablet, and they're not going to have to work on paper, take the paper, walk over to a computer that's, you know, down the hallway. They're going to be able to do all their work on the bus, grab their tablet while they're in the bus, perform their work there. So it cuts down on wasted time. It gives us efficiencies. So we're looking forward to that. And then lastly, we've got some new vehicles that we're going to be procuring. Next slide, please. All right, so we talked about transit asset management. I give you an overview about what it is. We also talked about how we do asset management at MST, gave you some insights about additional features and goodies, and then I gave you some information about the future MST projects that we're working on and how it relates to the transit asset management plan. So that is my presentation. I'll pause there for any questions that you might have.
Wow,
Yes.
a lot of good stuff. A
Yes.
lot of good stuff coming. Go ahead, Tony.
The
Thank-
doctor.
I mean,
Mr. Tuwiki, I don't know why, but as I'm listening to you, I was coming from Paso Robles yesterday and I saw one of the MST buses going south. And I don't know, I thought about what happens when a bus breaks down, you know, talking about all your technology and all that. Have you ever had that experience when one of your buses breaks down out and you got passengers?
Yeah.
What happens there?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we can do. I'll let Marzette kind of talk about that if he wants to, but it's rare that we have something break down. But when it does break down, if it's show stopping, then we have a crew that we send out to pick up the bus and do what they have to do. If it's deemed that the bus is not able to complete the trip, then Marzette's team will start another bus. They'll deadhead, what we call deadhead. So a bus will just go straight out to the location, and from there they'll offload the passengers, pick them up, put them in the bus, and then they'll start service that way.
Well,
Yeah.
with all this technology efficiency, what can you tell me what I guess depends where the bus broke down, but what is the process? Well, I mean the timing.
Yeah. So we try and get there within a half hour or sooner, as quickly as possible. Fortunately for us, we're fully staffed. Thank you, Kelly. And then we've got some great individuals that work in Marzette's department to determine what is the best solution at the time. So if we're in the city of Salinas and we're near the transit center and a bus breaks down, there's different opportunities that we can have. We can deadhead a bus from STC. We can have somebody who's in service that has ended their particular piece of work start that service. So there's a bunch of different opportunities that they have to go through. They go through a checklist of things.
But you say it's a rare moment.
It's a rare moment. Yeah, it's very rare that our buses break down. They do break down, but it's very rare that we have road calls that prevent our buses from completing their scheduled trip.
Yeah.
So on page 43 of your monthly report,
Which
there's a
I-
mile between major mechanical road calls.
Yes.
The industry standard is 10,000 miles between major road calls. You really don't see very often an MST month where we go by, that's not more than double that. Some months we're going in excess of 60,000 miles between road calls. So mechanical road calls. So that's a mechanical failure while the
Yeah.
bus is in service. So it is a rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
rare.
we're,
That's great.
It's rare.
I guess it really does tie back to our asset management.
Mhm.
We
It does.
try to,
Yeah.
with our fleet, a fleet asset, a bus is considered obsolete after 12 years or 500,000 miles. Many of our peers will attempt to, get 1,000,000 miles or 25 years out of a bus, and they'll try to wring every last mile out of it, but that comes at the expense of mechanical road calls, extra cost. We've had a philosophy here for a little over 20 years to really focus on keeping our fleet investments because that way you have more reliable service, and it is actually less costly. It is expensive to buy a bus, but when you allow a bus to get beyond its useful life, fuel inefficiencies, parts, labor, everything that goes into keeping those buses rolling beyond their useful life does not pay off in the long run. So with this asset management plan, we stay on top of it. We've even gone as far as financing replacement buses. When we didn't have the cash, we've gone out and sought private investment, took out private loans because it was actually cheaper less expensive to pay the debt than it was to continually repair obsolete buses. And then on top of it, we have the added reliability to our customers as well, which is, it's more difficult to put a price tag on, but it is valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just add that we have a preventive maintenance program. They call it preventive, right? Because what we're trying to do is prevent issues from occurring in the field that affects our customers from riding and getting to where they need to go. So we're very stringent about mileage intervals, hours intervals. We're trying to do those preventive maintenance inspections, oil changes, filter changes, things like that. Safety checks every 3,000 miles, 6,000 miles, 12,000 miles, et cetera. And it's very, very rare when we ever miss meeting those performance targets.
Thank you.
We used to report that to this board, but over the years, it was always, it was at 100%, 100%, 100%. Your board has asked us to stop showing you that because we just never fell below. So
Yeah.
it's something we took out of the reporting package.
We didn't want to hear about your 100%.
Excellent.
All right. 100%, I get that.
About it.
All right.
Joe?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much for the report. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Including Michelle. I wanted to compliment you too, the whole staff. And Carl, a couple of things, the buses, maintenance and stuff, it's like a car. Eventually, you're gonna have to get rid of your car because the cost goes up
Yeah.
so much, and I understand that. The other thing I wanted to compliment MST was, obviously I see the buses in Pacific Grove, and so I'm hitting Monterey periodically and Seaside, so forth. But they're always maintained so well and just clean. Not that I follow buses around Pacific Grove or anything like that, but I also wanted to compliment the.
Follow them. No, we have some reports about that.
I also want to
You don't like the
compliment,
small-
I know this is a minor thing, but the bus stops. I see them, they're maintained so well. Periodically, I see the guys, mostly guys with the spraying, cleaning the bus stops, and they're very well maintained. So I'm sure that's part of your.
It is. Yeah, that's part of our asset management plan. Yes.
But anyway, I just want to compliment you on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Carl,
Okay.
also, you too.
Oh, sure.
Anyone else have anything? I know we just got a new one in Gonzales and it's the roof itself is my favorite color, so it looks really
There
good.
you go. We'll maintain that asset.
Yeah,
Yes.
all right, anybody else?
Just want
Yes,
to add
yes,
my thanks and compliments to the entire team, and
Absolutely.
you're probably also looking forward, you compared with the car, the maintenance of the buses, electric buses, no more oil changes.
That's true.
So-
Yeah, we got other issues with them. But thank you. So appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So much,
You're welcome.
Arno. All right, anybody else have any comments before we move on? Anyone from the public have any comments? Seeing none, close public comment, and we'll move on to receive update from the MST Safety Committee, and this is Jared. Good morning.
Good morning,
How
Madam
is
Chair,
it?
Directors of the board.
How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Thank you.
All right, so I'm here today to present to you an update from the Safety Committee. We're going to be discussing two key topics, which is your collisions and also your workplace violence. Next slide, please. And Jared Augusta, Risk and Security Manager for formalities. So this first slide that I have for you is your MST fixed route miles between preventable collisions. Specifically, we're looking at bus collisions here. What you'll see is over the previous 13 rolling months, we actually traveled 1.7 million miles collision free. That's a totality of all 13 months. But what you also see here is we have 9 months that we're at or above our minimum 100,000 mile sort of FTA standard. And then you'll see that we have a goal. We have a goal of 200,000 miles between preventable collisions. And we've actually reached that goal 4 of the 13 months. And then what's really notably and stands out to me here, but it's kind of not really seen, is that we had no preventable bus collisions in December of 2024 and February of 2025. So that's a fantastic statistic. And you will see that February is slightly below the 200,000, but that was the maximum miles. It was like right at 198 for that month. So essentially, I call that meeting the goal. Next slide, please. So next here we have your preventable collisions by type. And so this is looking at all of your collisions for your buses as well as all of your non-revenue vehicles. So all of the relief units, all of the maintenance trucks such as facilities and fleet maintenance trucks. You also have a few odds and ends with ITS and training and so on and so forth. Most notably here, you have 29 preventable collisions in total. December 2024, as we mentioned before, you can see there was actually no collisions, whether it was revenue or non-revenue there. And then you can see that we had 16 collisions in public. So those are, your higher amount that's trending. And typically those are your bus collisions. And those are happening in intersections. They're the ones that are happening as we drive down the road in service. You have 7 collisions that are mirror hits or swipes. And I would say probably most all of those are mirror hits. We typically don't see a lot of swipes. 4 collisions that happened within the facility, so inside of the bus yards, and then we had 2 tail swing collisions. So another thing here too, and I'm just going to give you a little spoiler alert, you can actually see this on page 41 of your monthly report. And then what you'll see when you get the January data is that right now we're at 49 days collision free. So the last time we had a preventable collision in totality of MST was December 22nd. So knock on wood, right now we're at 49 days. We'd love to see that trend continue to possibly 50, 60, and maybe more. Next slide, please. So these are the non-preventable collisions. What you're going to see this on your monthly report, and this is going to be in page 42. And this is over the last 13 months. We had 35 times when it wasn't our fault, somebody hit us. And so that's just good for you to see a metric to see, how many times accidents are happening, and we did everything we could and we prevented it as best we could. And, somebody made the mistake, but it wasn't us. Next slide, please. So this last safety committee meeting was a fun one. I say it's fun because we actually did a deep dive, sort of a granular look at all the data that we collect associated with incidents. So we reviewed the 29 collisions on January 29th of this year, and we looked at, things in, how can we find a root cause? Right? How can we find a rhyme or reason? And also, where can we take our resources and where can we allocate them to prevent future collisions from occurring? So what you see here is collisions by summary, and that comes out of the preventable determination report from the safety team. And essentially, you're seeing most all of, or the highest level is the bus versus personally owned vehicles and the bus versus parked POVs. You have some other few little odds and ends in here, but those are, where I see as potential target areas for us to reduce, future claims as well as, collisions. Next slide, please. This one I thought was interesting too. Again, we're looking for rhyme or reason and where can we target, retraining efforts for drivers. This one, we always talk about complacency, as a driver grows in their years of service and they get more comfortable in the bus, do they get more complacent? And so this actually shows you that operators with 2 to 10 years of service experience more collisions in 2025. So pretty interesting metric there. Next slide, please. The next one that we looked at was collisions by consecutive days worked. This one is more, we're kind of trying to figure out, hey, are drivers tired? Are they fatigued, as they're getting in these collisions? Because that could be a factor, right? And so what you see here is fatigue could have played a role in a few of the collisions, but most of them happened while operators came back from a day off on their first or second day.
Hmm.
Next slide, please. Yeah, we were all shocked too.
So not
That
paying
one.
attention.
I know nothing.
This one is really interesting too, because again, we're looking at how can we prevent collisions and how can we provide more support? I know we talked about that, Tony, in the past. How can we provide more support? So I thought this was really, kind of a tell-all that most of your collisions are happening so from noon, midday till before dusk. So, can we provide more, training in those areas, more memorandum, more support in the field with oversight? So just one of those areas that, hey, maybe we have an opportunity here. Okay, next slide, please. And then lastly, for the case study, this was requested from the committee and they wanted to know, well, which route is it? Which routes are experiencing the most collisions? And so we did find here that line 20 and line 41 had the highest frequency of collisions. Jazz A was a third, and then you can kind of see, we had some in the yard that contributed here and some of the other routes that had collisions. Next slide, please. Okay, so changing gears a little bit, we're going to talk a little bit more about workplace violence as opposed to collisions now. So this came out of the November 20th meeting. The safety committee wanted an update from me about these two metrics. So they wanted to know by which route and which line where workplace violence is occurring. And I will note that this is 27 of the occurrences that we had from July 1st of 2025. So we've had 25 of those were type 2 and so that's customer related and they were against a bus operator. You will see the off bus metric that's there on the far right. Those were 2 occurrences that happened to an operations supervisor. No other employees at MST have experienced any occurrences of threatening behavior, verbal threats, or battery or assault. And then just looking at the route type, we see that the line 20 obviously is the highest. There's 8 there. Jazz A, close second at 7. And then line 23 and, Jazz B, line 28 are kind of right there too. This again, we look at this too because we want to know what can we do, from a security perspective and a prevention, a proactive approach to support our employees is how can we, potentially reduce these occurrences and again, use our resources in the right area to do so. The other thing that came up in safety committee was a heated discussion related to, hey, is this happening because of fares? That's pretty typical. We see that, but I would argue that it's probably a no, because you got 1/3 that are associated with fares. 2/3 are not. We do see a lot of it is folks just out there that are having a hard time and things escalate, unfortunately. But this is a really good thing for us to look at and just see, hey, how can we continue to promote de-escalation training and how can we continue to support our drivers and make sure that they know that they have the discretion to continue service and give people the benefit of the doubt when necessary. And so we're doing that this year with our AB 394 update. And I will continue to the next slide, please. Okay, so from July 1st of 2025, we have 10 occurrences, and that's included in the 27 I mentioned previously from January 1. So these are just sort of a deeper dive into the most recent occurrences that we've had. And I'll note that actually it's been better than what we saw in the first fiscal year that we were collecting this data. They all are still type 2 customer occurrences, and that's defined in the Cal OSHA AB 553. You'll see you have one occurrence that involved spitting at a barrier, swinging a grocery bag, and sort of hitting the driver's right arm. Luckily, the barrier was in place. This was an incident that was not catastrophic, but was, it was notable. We had one occurrence that involved the passenger that was physically punching the bus from the outside. This actually driver was very tactful. He got the passenger doors closed before he was able to board. And then the guy kind of threatened him. He unfortunately threatened his family as well. So he reported the incident as such.
The bus wasn't injured though.
No, the bus was fine. Not a scratch,
Thank God.
Carl.
Well, I just want more norms.
We have another incident here that was kind of interesting. So this one was passenger boarded the bus. This one was actually a ticket. He had a transfer that was expired. Driver was just trying to sort of inform him, hey, you know, you can't really use that. I'm going to let you go, but I just need to let you know that your ticket's expired. And this passenger became upset. He actually got off willingly, but then the window, right where the ADA on the curbside, he poured a drink in, and there was 3 passengers sitting there. So unfortunately, they got doused in some, I think it was a soda, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he was verbally threatening the passengers and the driver in that incident. And then the other 7, not to, you know, play them down, but they were just verbal threats. All right, next slide, please. So I really want to thank you for sharing this time with me and having me here to present to the board on these key performance indicators, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Right. How do the drivers feel? I mean, are they all doing well? I mean, when these kinds of situations occur, I mean, we always get concerned about how they're feeling too.
Sure.
Have they expressed real concern? I mean, some of these are pretty difficult ones, so.
Yeah, you know, I'll say I think we have some of the best staff. We really do. Our drivers are phenomenal. They go through a lot, obviously, you know, being out there. A lot of times I always talk to them about exposure. So because they're trying to figure out, why did this happen to me, kind of thing. And I'm like, well, you know, you're out there for 10 hours a day, you know, sometimes 8 hours a day. If you got in your car right now and drove south 8 hours, where would you be? You know, you'd probably be in San Diego or Tijuana, right? So their exposure is so great. And yeah, I think that there's times where, like specifically the one with the grocery bag, that driver is one of our, you know, sweetest men. He's just the nicest driver. He's a 20-year plus veteran. He's never had an occurrence like this, and he was just upset that the passenger and him didn't understand each other. I think there was a bit of a language barrier because he does have a thick accent, but he was essentially telling him, like, because this passenger got on board with clothing that was defecated on. And so he was saying, you know, you got to put that in a bag. You can't just bring that on. And that's when the passenger was upset. But interestingly enough, in that investigation, what we found is that passenger had just crossed the street. This was at Del Monte and Casa Verde, sort of going up towards Casa Verde Beach. And he had previously been rejected by another driver to get on board. So, you know, it was happens chance.
Right.
But yeah, to directly answer your question, our drivers, they feel good. It sucks when these things happen. The barriers are phenomenal, though. It really puts this layer in where, you know, unfortunately, if we didn't have that, that driver would have got spit on. He probably would have had a more direct assault as opposed to what I would call a simple battery or a simple assault where he was trying to get him, but he really couldn't,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it ruins your day as a driver, to be frank.
As staff, we try to, you know, from the safety committee to, you know, training and policies and procedures and training for our coach operators and staff to de-escalate these types of situations so that they move on from being verbally threatened to an actual physical act. You know, we focus there as much as we can. And our drivers seem to appreciate that. I know our union leadership at the international level often points out to Kelly and her team in risk and safety and human resources, as well as Norm and our operations and maintenance group, as being an example of a management team that actually looks out for the workforce. And we've had that comment made in privately and publicly. So that's good. And then we work together with our state association. We recently were successful in getting new legislation passed this year that increases the penalties for people who make an assault against any transit worker, be it a coach operator or a customer service rep or a frontline supervisor. So we continue to do those things that we need to do to keep our workforce safe. Unfortunately, public transit is at the intersection of public policy where we've failed on housing, where we failed on healthcare and mental illness. And it plays out every day
Yeah.
at our bus stop and on board our buses. And unfortunately, sometimes our drivers are on the receiving end of that. So, you know, we continue to work on those root causes while we manage the symptoms.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know what, I'm speaking about those root causes, I guess, what interests me more is how different governments work together. Like, for example, you do have mental health, you have the police. You have all these safety resources. My biggest concern, you know, and I get upset when something's happening on my watch, because I'm always saying that I want to improve the quality of life in people. But when I hear the police department maybe does not respond as should be, or even mental health. And sometimes I wonder why it's so difficult. And we're such a small county compared to others. And sometimes we just kind of point the finger at each other instead of coming together. I guess my question here is, do we have, you know, just like you guys have staff meetings, do we have a relationship where maybe quarterly or even twice a year we get together with these individuals where we can help that individual, where drivers can also take a toll on this, you know, which they don't deserve that.
Kelly?
So I'll answer that question. Kelly Halkin, Chief Human Resources Officer. There isn't a standing meeting. We use the resources. So for instance, Christy, who runs the mobility department, manages the mobility department. There is
There she is.
with the MAT committee, there are individuals that are on that committee that are part of these human services nonprofits and so forth. And so we do tap into those resources of people who sit on that committee. Also, our operations supervisors are well aware of some of the frequent fires that are out in the community. And they also have established their own partnerships with some of these nonprofits that are there to help. We have had, for instance, an individual in the past who out in Hardin Ranch is basically living off and on in one of our bus stops, and operations, HR, mobility, we came together to try to bring services in to try to help this individual. So, I mean, we do tap into those when we have the ability to, but there's only so far you can go.
But with and I gotta hurry, with this one incident, were we successful? Because I remember even as council members, we were called on that stop because it was ongoing, people were afraid. Were we successful as?
No,
I would say no.
Yeah.
No.
for a period
it-
of time,
Yeah.
in this particular instance, we actually removed the bus stop from the shelter.
Yeah.
And she came, this particular individual just came and laid on the ground where the bus stop used to be.
Yeah.
She had some, you know, psychic connection to that spot. And that person has returned. And we're continuing, you know, to try to work with PD, but if the person refuses to seek help or accept help, you know, our own system
Yeah.
sides on the side of the individual, whether it's in their best interest or not.
Yeah.
And so we're limited with what we can do.
That
We're
is
running
true.
out of time.
And we're running out of time, so we've got 2 minutes till our next meeting. Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you,
Appreciate the
board.
update, and there was a question I was gonna ask you, but it was in the last slide, so there you go. All right, thank you so much. If there's nothing more, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 9:58, and we'll get ready for the next one.
You're efficient. 9:58.
On time performance, baby.